Ladies and gentlemen, and all viewers of King Strategist fan, I am here today with the RatPack. Sadly enough, not with us because the audio was pretty loud, so I'll be doing it from my perspective first, but hopefully I'll gain their permission. So as you can see, on Team 1 we have Russ, that guy, Dragon Scale again, those guys, and RatPack's Little Joe. Now, you may be thinking we outnumber him, but you'll soon see the odds do even out. So we had a pretty funny idea. We were talking in chat about how many tanks, and this was the reason why I could not record it. Because you see, so yeah, that's our deployment. Yep. All that. Yeah, it was pretty. I don't know how my PC was going to handle this. I mean, like, then there was all the audio, like, we were just shouting, like, oh my god, that's going to be awesome. We're going to totally tank through them. Get it? Tank through them. So now the game started, and it's just hell. Thankfully, though, my idea was attack, just head on, and they're, like, playing all professionally, and then you just see this. I think... yeah, it eventually gets to such a state on the roads that some of the tanks are actually being kicked off into the woods, waiting to get back in line. And as you can see, we're starting to lose people on our team. So they send in their aircraft pretty early on. Frail's getting his men in position, and we're still running. I think my tanks were stuck at the rear. Yeah, my tanks get kicked off the road. Icarus's tanks are they just given up all hope. So the advance just plows through hyper speed, super speed Korean tanks, just not stopping. SAS up ahead. I didn't actually know about the SAS. And they're meant to be some of the best infantry units in the game. Yeah. So Rivelin's like, holy crap, what the hell's going on? Try and cross the river. But these Apaches, Eurofighters, just butcher the vanguard, and we just keep trying, but eventually we get stuck because the amount of tanks up ahead. Oh no! And as you can see, they lose 2 tanks in the first volley. Now we start to bring in fighters to counter their fighters to give our tanks some more breathing space. As you can see, they're just sending in anything they got. I never knew we had to push on this side, and we just due to all the Hueys, you know. Oh, that was bad. So anyway, I then decide to put my effort into another sector. Now, I was thinking this sector is going to be relatively unguarded. I was wrong. Dragon Scale had set up a number of troops in there. So, as my men, or tanks even, start to land, you see that it's one of my biggest decisions. Thankfully, we don't lose anyone in the landing boats. And our tanks just start opening, well, my tanks. And they just start getting hammered. You see, I then buy time for my allies, so I'm dragging away their attention to this sector. Now bringing more Korean infantry, do not worry. And you can see I'm already at a pretty decent level. Not getting as many kills, but you'll be noticing that this breach gets bigger and bigger, and it's on. You just have to send him. So Dragon Scale, knowing what I'm doing, just immediately sends them more. But I, on the other hand, bringing Korean infantry, using these guys to cover my advance and Aluda. Just, you know, why not? Because we weren't getting anywhere on land. So the lines finally properly shape up. You can see the points difference is not too much, thankfully. But you can see the supply choppers, and half of Icarus's tanks actually run out of fuel, and we start resupplying them. Well, Icarus does anyway. I'll go in later. My Luda arrives, and it just, you can tell Icarus tries and lands some, and I think he was successful. Yeah, it was. closer. So I started landing in more tanks to back him up, you know, more men and that, and then everyone else brings in their navy. I mean, like, the RatPack are seriously a bunch of good players. I mean, like, I was playing today with Master Cybertron, and oh, it was just vicious. I mean, like, we barely won, and the guy knew what he was doing. He knew everything, and I lose Luda. But you can see they start gathering up their navy, so they're forcing to spend points here. If I knew all that was there, I would have given up and just tried to hold the line. So start landing in more troops, using these things actually to get the tanks were mounted on, so try to damage these boats and give us covering fire. Because then our navy just begins hammering it. So eventually we land a very big amount of men here. Some of my men leading the charge. Icarus backing up. Sadly enough, the area was pretty well defended. I might need to slow it down, just to let you guys absorb the action. So this was on a very high standard of gameplay. So my little gunboat, landing craft just there, shooting in. Eventually gets pretty awkward because I didn't even know these things were there. I think I tried to take them out, but anyway, over here, Icarus, Sean Chai, Beast, and Oliver Hazard, yeah. You can tell I let go. So anyway, Pharaoh brings up the next line of tanks. This happens a lot, trust me. To try and break through. They actually don't know that this stuff's here for some reason. Maybe because it ran out of ammo. Ooh. You can see they're just not getting anywhere. We do eventually lose this bridgehead. Sorry for the spoiler. But, anyway, back over here, where the fun's happening. So we did manage to land, or Icarus did manage to land a very good amount of ammo. Just gets bombarded. I start laying smoke for our fleet as the artillery moves in, so buys us time to move up. Resupplying that. Oh, by the way, yeah. I was taking the supply road there. So they're like attack because it's like, okay, they're going to be moving up. In reality, it was a trap. You see, by forcing them into this small choke point, they're not able to bring every ship they have to the fore. And they're being crowded. So, ha. Over here, I was trying to do something with this Sovereign. Doesn't really work out in the end, sadly. So over here, the attack, the Falchion Maker comes in, and even Bai Chang troops can't hold them back. Thankfully though, Pharaoh's tanks. Over here, it was the Dragon Scale pressed the advantage, and we were trying to hold them back. Little RatPack was, you see, it did work out pretty well. And we were building up a flanking force. Here's some aircraft. Right. So anyway, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And you can see, it's like, ah, damn it. They spot me. No. So I was coming in and hit the aircraft. Try. Sovereign does make it. He just starts bombarding anything he moves. As you can see, like clearly showing the dragon transport's fingertip before being taken out by a magically appearing effect. In the meantime, the center is just turning into a vicious grind because they don't. Funny thing is, most people think Pack are underpowered. I used to think that till I seen their navy in action, and the amount of things they can put out on the field. This, to be honest, we lost about 4 players at this point, so yeah. Eventually I do try and land with this, but it just didn't work out, and I'm like, okay, better send these guys to do something. So anyway, their navy, we had the idea of pincering them, you know, do a pincer attack, get them in the middle. Nah, didn't really work out. There was this massive helicopter force, so we had these guys on this bridge. I wasn't involved in this. I was just trying to get my troops onto the land again, which they do. And just, well, Actually, what was I doing at this point? Oh yes. Oh yes. The definition of spam. Ah, glorious. So yes, all these are anti-aircraft guns. All of them. And as you can see, this area in the wood where Icarus has his men in tanks right now, nah, it's not gonna happen. So as you can see, just more bombardment, more fighting, just more. And I was thinking, okay, they're gonna prepare for a helicopter rush. So, yeah. Rush me with your helicopters. You can see though, they're just building up this massive force in reserve. I mean, like, this stuff does eventually come to the fore, and it's vicious. Right now though, they're sort of like splitting up these little attack. Fusiliers trying across the bridge. It doesn't really work out in the end. Navy's calmed down, Delta Force is moving on the island, but we just got more stuff inbound. A lot more stuff. So the Delta Force, we didn't even know was there. I mean, like, those guys are pretty mean in close combat. Actually, looking at from their perspective, they didn't actually know how much stuff we had. I was moving up my stuff in the middle of the field. But looking from our side, you can see we didn't know how much. Then looking from the neutral perspective, we both had pretty even amounts. Well, maybe NATO had more, but it's hard to tell. So, more stuff just comes up this road. This road becomes a massive battleground near the end of the battle. And just artillery rains in. We were hoping to hit something, but you can see what remains of our forces have been pushed back from the north of this sector, so fighting will carry on in Foxtrot. Sad face. But you see, we're only halfway through this battle, so I'm going to speed up some more. So anyway, on the ground level, our troops start advancing. Thing I always do is that I advance my vehicles behind my infantry, so if they get stuck in a fight, the vehicles can just gun anything down. Simple. We were going to ambush their navy and get a few extra kills. We didn't know they had Rangers or Delta Force on the island, and I joined in with a few of my vehicles because I didn't have any good navy. The attack here begins, and we just try our best to stop it. I mean, like, this Leopard soon just, it doesn't matter how good you are. And we continue, so I think it was little Johnny was giving us the orders or something. I don't know. I can't remember who it was. So anyway, we eventually figure out, holy crap, they got a bunch of stuff here. And they figure out, okay, so they're firing. And I start firing. Pretty cool. You can't block these missiles, so you're done for. The Delta Force doesn't move for a while. It probably should have moved. You can see the quality of pack troops is quite questionable, but the numbers ain't. I find that just kind of silly. Like the speed's going at, like, more flares. You can see though, Icarus's tanks are holding up, and we are starting to lose this island of Foxtrot. Now, if they pushed over here later in the game, like to this sector, to Bravo, we would have been done for. But they kept their navy here, which was nice. So, Delta Force eventually gets killed, and my vehicles just get butchered. And they're repairing stuff. It's actually quite draining of them. And then, you know, stuff happens. So yeah, RatPack, they're pretty good. We had all these helicopters here. Didn't know who was in charge of them, but my artillery rains out. I sadly enough didn't move them in time. I actually add more, thinking, okay, I'm going to be safe. No, I was wrong. I was so very wrong. This should happen any second. So anyway, we keep all of our miners back. but they had no choice but to keep them up. So we take out the last Oliver Hazard pretty gloriously. More rocket artillery comes in. I keep my stuff here, just resupply, restock, you know. And then we have these massive pushes in. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna need more people to hold the line up. So Icarus leaves the game because he has to go somewhere. Didn't know who to command this. So I decided, you know what? Time to move in more troops. This is actually not my first. I actually use this rocket artillery a lot. Nobody hits it for a real long time against this to get some revenge for my sovereign. Yeah. Quality of pack troops is really questionable. So I decide, you know what, let's try this again. I'm gonna try and land, but you can see it's not looking that good. Actually, the place is less well defended. You can just see the carnage in the center that's happening. I mean, I would try and move in more things, but it's just not working out. And I spam tanks. And I decide, you know what? If you can kill them for me, and I get the land, then I'll do more damage. You know? So yeah, these things are one of my favorite green vehicles. It's like a mini tank. In the meantime, though, tanks. So eventually it becomes so desperate in the woods that it's a tank-v-tank battle. The pack forces, or the West German forces are being forced to advance up against what remains of Icarus' tanks, but I move in more. The leopards soon come to regret this. They advance through a hailstorm. It's just 3, 2, 1. This little German does make it out. You can see here just a massive battle ensures. I mean, I did capture this. I didn't know what to do with it. Sadly enough, the squad got killed. There are more SS in the woods. Damn it. Oh well. In the meantime, though, back up here, they got rocket art. Oh, well, I ordered the attack, funnily enough. And you can see that they're building up again. They're quite secure on this side. So they haven't pushed into Foxtrot yet. We do try and reinforce Foxtrot. But just in the end, Icarus, what remains of Icarus' troops try, but once they see that we hardly have anything left, they push. Little we could do. Finally we win on this side though. We win. And we were confident, well, at least one of us. You see that because people are leaving, I'm able to replace my stuff more quickly, so I had about 100 Type 59 tanks at the end, and I was like, oh, that's convenient. So yeah, they land these Chinooks. I don't know how you land Chinooks stealthily. They land Rangers, and the Rangers are moving up, thinking, oh yeah, we're going to be stealthy. And then my tanks. Or tank. And the others are completely blind. So the Rangers are there, obviously seeing a very small fraction. Well, actually, no. Not seeing a thing. I don't want to move. And then 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it didn't really work out in the end. I even move in more tanks to this ridge to act like a reserve, but they did secure a landing zone in Delta. And our rocket artillery, or my rocket artillery, just keeps growing. You can see nobody hits it for a really long time. Because they think, oh, it's going to keep moving. Nope. So, the island becomes a bit of a hellhole. Their navy gives up. We still got one chopper here. They kind of give up on this side for navy. If they pushed on our flanks, because we had just so much invested. Ugh. So anyway, so here comes the massive tank battle. I'm gonna slow it down for you guys. Actually, it's not yet. We don't actually see each other till we're dead close, right eye to eye. And you can just see that they're only sending troops. So they do annihilate this, but I do send up reinforcements, and it doesn't. We do not press for the low ground yet, because, well, you wanted to be defender in this situation. My tanks do advance, so does my infantry. My riflemen just get slaughtered. And the first wave, they're only trickling in. You can see they have a lector, which are meant to be very powerful tanks. Yeah, I need to speed this up. This lasts for an hour of carnage. So it's going as fast as it can. Sorry about this. I think this might be a 1 hour special or something. Anyway, I keep this massive force of tanks in reserve. From my perspective, I couldn't see anything. I didn't concentrate, so. And then they move in this. So, they have the island back. We have a bunch of ships, and I decide, smoke! And they're like, no smoke. Oh. Okay. But you can see that this tank battle here becomes more and more vicious. The twin Hueys even get taken down just by sheer tanks. More of my our joint rocket artillery from the boats and my soon just pile in on the sector. And you can see I'm containing this well for the time being. And they're only attacking segments of the formation. If I pressed in, you know, but anyway, they start moving in from multiple flanks, and because they have this, there's no real way we can flank them or stop them even. So it just becomes pretty vicious. Thankfully though, we had more tanks. Yeah. We do lose the island, sadly enough. Well, it becomes contested, but somebody goes back in there and shows them who's boss. Yeah. And you can see the score is not starting to catch up. So the Canadian rifles lead the charge, but you can soon see that they're caught up with my flanking detachment and just fighting ensures on all sides. It becomes pretty vicious that I'm guarding this anti-aircraft field and I need reinforcements badly. So I do try and hold my ground as long as I can before retreating down. Moving in some more tanks, just, you know, because they are literally more expendable than infantry. They try and cut off me from the rear, which they are pretty successful, and you see my line is shrinking pretty fast. Yeah. Bad day to be a part of my army, I'll tell you that much. Thankfully though, we do sneak one looter in. Hey, it's my looter. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, they do start landing and my looter leads the charge like, screw you guys. Thinking, oh, we're gonna lose. No, King, you're gonna sacrifice your looter. And I'm like, nope, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, ooh, supplies and all. But anyway, I was more concentrated over here. You see, they just start overrunning me. I wasn't paying proper attention, I'm afraid, so stuff happens. I mean, I do try and keep them back in certain bits, but in other bits they just don't really care. I mean, like, if they did push us, my forces would be gone. But you do see I keep a reasonable heavy amount of artillery in this village. And I have that bow, which does kill quite a lot. Even at top speed, man, this game's not going fast now. Right. So anyway, back to the main battle. You can see here that I start trying to pull back, but they advance at the same time, so we're done. You can only hold for so long against 6 players. There was only 3 of them at this point, I do believe. And you see I just start unloading more men to engage them down at this bit. I I even move up some of my rocket artillery for some reason. And I'm like, no, get back here. Get back here. And it just becomes hell. Some of my infantry still holds up. We do actually manage... Well, we don't actually manage. My rocket artillery attempts to try and take them out. See, it does some damage. And I just have my stuff waiting at the bottom for it. Because I knew, I didn't see it, but this time I knew that they were coming. They were going to come down like a hurricane. So they do. You can see this place just evolves immediately into a battleground. Like, just everything goes to hell. My forces trying to hold up the inevitable NATO advance. You see a little rat. Sorry. The other guy forms a secondary line. We do win on this side. Eventually. They don't bring up their navy for fire support. You see, we're just starting to lose ground in this sector very badly. I mean, like, I do bring in more stuff, but I can only bring in so much at one time. You eventually move up all this. That helps a lot. Because it just broadsides the entire area. Over here in this little gap area, I'm able to use the low ground to force them to shoot down that way. Some of my own elite commandos do take the position up in this building. And you just see that they don't last very long. They do annihilate a lot of things in the process. And you can see the scores pretty close. I do... Well, that's not me, but somebody else does. I know, it's like, I do. Yeah. The RatPack players, they are pretty good. Probably better than me at this game if you see very carefully. Yeah, see? I think it was Bolt Sauce, me, and little Johnny left or something. So it was pretty fun though. It was an inter-house game. I mean, I do move up here thinking, okay, I'm ambushing. Which I got to do. I do take out a few tanks. But then stop. Over here, I think Bolt Sauce trying to hold line, trying to guard our rear, whilst concentrating on the left. So I do keep these guys up here to make sure that we know what's going on. They do disembark infantry, then advance, which is pretty good. Foolish. So they do move in again, and I do disembark everything here to attempt to stop it, but the artillery you see just comes down and kills every anti-tank thing I have. So not much is going to come out of there. Bolt Sauce and that are moving in more men. A few of my own troops coming from the rear. I was literally starting to use Korean commandos as conscripts. So many of them. Yeah. You can see though the points are becoming more and more close. We are getting quite a good number of kills each. I do admit I'm not the best at Wargame, but when I do concentrate I can be forced to be reckoned. That's what I like to think, but in reality I'm probably no better than you. Still though, it's pretty quiet. Like, if they push with this navy, we would have lost. But you can see, they secure Foxtrot. We don't really head for this because we were more concentrated on this madness. But you can see, it's currently in our favor because we are holding the line. And that's what we're wanting to do. I move in my men for a flank attack against seemingly unknown odds. I do move some of my guys in the mountains though, just to act as ambushers, scouts, sentries, whatever you call them. And my hunch was correct. They do literally move more and more men in. A few more of my Korean commandos, making making the enemy pay. And they do just wait. I mean, like, these woods, man, if the corpses stayed, which they do, yeah. So, we have found more of this stuff, and I flanked them until they're... and then it ends. So you can see, I end with a respect. Just looking at the casualties though, I mean, like, kills, I got 9,800, but you can see my losses. Yeah, but it was a pretty good draw. We are all saying GG, you know. So I'll see you next time as I record the next game. See you then.